All right, guys, happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. Today's going to be pretty light. We're not doing any sort of training. As usual, we're taking it back to the very first days where we were doing tips, as the session is called, real estate tips on Tuesday with me. Today we're going to be doing open houses. I don't think anyone realizes what a great time it's for open houses now. We're going to get an influx of buyers in the new year. I think there's going to be a lot of open houses come January. So just a refresher on my favorite open house tips. I use them, why they're tried and true for me. And then we're going to open it up to a little Q&A session just in case you have any questions for me, specifically about things maybe you haven't tried or you've thought of, and we can talk about that. As always, let me just go over a couple of the session, not rules, but, guidelines. I am terrible with the chat, guys. If you have a question for me, please just unmute yourself and just say, Rosie, I've got a question. I will stop and be more than happy to answer it. Yeah, if you're gonna put it in chat, someone's got to let me know. All right, got to notify me some way or another, or else I won't see it. And I want you answered, that's for sure. Okay. This QR code here, if you scan that with your phone, you're going to get taken to my Linktree, and there are all the ways to contact me there. You can find a couple of my guides on there as well. So if you scan that QR code, it's all the ways to contact Rosie. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and then we'll get started. So it's true, yeah, save these. You will thank me later or just be happy you have them. Trust me. And these are what we're going to be going over today. So my number one tip, truly, is to know the property. Why is it important to know the property? Well, because in open house, while your door is open, everyone that walks through that door is going to ask you questions about the property. So you as an agent should not just be a door opener, a facilitator, the one with the key or whatever you want to say. My team likes to say you're not a number 2 on the menu at McDonald's. When you order number 2, you know exactly what you're getting. Everybody gets the same thing per se. Don't be that. Don't just be something on the menu. Be an agent that goes a little above and beyond. And I think that's important because that's the only way really you're going to stand out in a sea of realtors that we've got in the US. I mean, and then boil it down to even your area. I have more than 100,000 agents that that are not my competition, but are my colleagues, and other people see them and notice them too. But 100,000 people. So just think of it that way. You got to stand out. Be the agent that knows the property. Be the one that when they ask a question, you know exactly how many bedrooms and baths there are. And it's not that hard, right? As real estate agents, these things should be second knowledge to us that you should know. Beds, baths, square footage, lot size. Here in our area, they want to know about flooding. So that's also, and all this can be found in the MLS. That's a tip that I didn't put here because it's, to me, like putting shoes on is, you got to bring your shoes to your open house, but also print out the MLS sheets. This should be total standard common knowledge. That's why the stuff I put here is maybe not so common knowledge. Print out some MLS sheets, have at least 15, and definitely keep one on your body, or if you've got the availability to keep it on your phone, just so that you can refer to your phone, right? And that's a little tip. Let's say you're not super comfortable, you might be holding an open house for a property that's not your listing. Say you're holding it for someone on your team, or someone in your brokerage has allowed you to hold an open for them to get some leads. Fantastic. So it's not your property. You didn't really get all that time to do listing prep. Put the info on your phone and just refer to your phone a couple of times. It'll just look like you looked at an incoming message or something like that. But what you're really doing is looking at your cheat sheet. If you need one, keep one, but know the property. I don't care if you have a cheat sheet on you. I don't care if you look at the MLS sheet you're holding in your hand. Do not say, I have no idea, or I don't really know. I'll get back to you on that, because beds and baths are something that, anybody can look up from the listing, through their phone. Next thing, bring an assistant for number 1, safety reasons. Number 2, more hands. Why would you not want to have more people on deck? Why would you not want to have, like an entire team deployed on that house? And you've got, let's say an assistant upstairs to help, the guests as they go up, tell them what features in each room, etc. I like to have someone upstairs. If there's multiple floors, I like to have someone upstairs and downstairs. I love to have someone at the door. For me, my open houses, the door is never unmanned. It's typically my husband. That is something that an unlicensed aid helper assistant can do for you. That is that door. Now what they can't do is give property information. They can help someone through a bedroom. Oh, here's room number 1, room number 2. Those are obvious things, but they cannot act as the agent giving any sort of information on the property itself or financials, etc. But you can have helping hands, and that's really important. Door openers in the front and in the back. I don't like to have people in open houses really touch the doors much, because honestly, with all the back and forth, I've doors here in South Florida where I am, I've seen sliding glass doors. So I try to minimize all of those things and have, professionals at every turn, or someone that I trust, that I know is going to be helping these people move throughout the house. Also, it helps get them out of the house faster too. You can manage, the flow. I don't like to have more than 2 or 3 families, depending on how large the home is. But if it's a condo, really, I don't want more than 2 families if they come with 3 people each in a small condo. I wouldn't do that. Or townhouse, for example. But if it's a large, 2-story home, about 4,000 square feet, you've got the room for 3 families or 4 families to move about, inside with it still being comfortable. Use a sign-in. Number 3, use a sign-in for everyone. I have suggested apps. I can definitely, if you guys have any questions on which app I use, just let me know. If you don't want to use an app, say you're not tech savvy or whatever, don't want to have an additional app, or, I bring an iPad and I have the app on the iPad. That way it's not, no one's passing around my phone. And this is my greeter that's got the iPad at the door, so that I also know that my iPad is safe. So it's a bunch of, having a really strong team of at least 3, I say, for an open house. Don't go it alone. You're going to want the extra hands, trust me. And then use that sign-in sheet for everyone, an app, or go old school and do paper. But it's 2023. Me as an agent, if I walk in and someone has me sign a piece of paper, I'm like, really? I mean, how long have we been doing this? We can adapt to, I can send you something mobily, to bending over, finding a pen, the pen falling on the floor. Most agents are dressed nicely, and I don't want to be, when I'm in a heel, when I'm in heels and a skirt, I don't want to be bending over chasing a pen or whatever. So I really do highly suggest, just for everyone's comfort and ease, and that way multiple people can do it at once too. If it's just a QR code to scan and it goes to a landing page, that is a jot form that they just fill out, and it gets emailed directly to you with each submission. It's really simple, can be very simple. So the suggested apps for this, you could just do a QR code straight to jot form, which is free. JOTFORM.com. Excuse me, I'm a little stuffy. A QR code, a jot form, and that will get emailed to you directly. Or you can use an app itself, like Open House. It's called Open House. It's an open house app, and that's exactly what it's for. It's very simple, literally 1 page just for sign up, and then people put in their name and then click send, click send, click send. But that one you will have to pass around the iPad or whatever it is you have them signing in on, because that's a one-time use thing. I like the QR code because you can hold up the iPad, everyone scans it with their phone, and multiple people can be doing this at one time. You don't need to be waiting for anyone, and it also doesn't cause a huge line out the door or, in the front of the house. Notifying neighbors. Notifying neighbors is really important. Your neighbors might need to move, might know someone that they know or love that wants to move near them too. Neighbors are an incredible source for lead generation as far as open houses are concerned. And you can do this the day before or a little bit prior to the open house. I like to do both the day before and prior. That way you just remind them. But if you don't want to, knock on their door twice or feel like you're bothering people twice, just do it the day before or the morning of. Choose one. But just let those neighbors know somehow. You can do flyers very simply. You can do door hangers even more simply, right? Those come done for you. You don't have to print them out. And like I said, I suggest a day of or a day prior or both if you have the opportunity to. And hey, guys, if you've got those assistants, guess what? Give them $100 and send them out and deploy, people around the neighborhood to put up these flyers and hangers for you if you're not available. So those are four of my first tips. And the fifth tip is, this one is really, really, really important to me. This is the one thing that makes me in particular, has had me stand out amongst, my team or fellow agents. Everyone's just really shocked when they walk into my open houses. And this goes back to how I am very big on the psychology of things, and that the perception is reality. What I mean by this? What I mean by this is that if buyers walk into an open house and it's dirty, cluttered, don't get me started if there are dead things on the floor. I'm talking cockroaches, mouse poop, anything that you can think of. If that home is vacant, I assure you, and I'm gonna say it again, I assure you, no one's gonna feel quite comfortable walking that house. If you have to step over roaches, if there's hair all over the floor, and if there are boxes in every corner or whatever, terrible. So even if it is a vacant home, I like to have the floor swept, free of any debris. I want to make sure every sight line is available for these buyers. People are walking this home, envisioning themselves in it. They're mentally putting their furniture in places. They're thinking about how they can live here and how they can feel at home here. And it matters. It truly does. So make their perception, right? Their reality in that sense, make it so inviting that they just want this home. And they're like, they can just see themselves there, right? Have some mini water bottles. They don't need to be the large ones. I don't want the large ones because then people stay longer, right? Mini water bottles, a tray of cookies. And in my opinion, a home that smells inviting makes you want to stay, makes you want to live there. It really does give you the, this is comforting. Have a candle in the kitchen and then have one in the bathroom. These are things that we typically do at home, right? You would want these people walking this home to feel like they could live here. And how do you do that? You make it seem more like their home. I love to do that by having the mini water bottles out, some form of snack, small snack, cookie, little granola bars, etc. If you want to promote a local company, that's a great way to do it. If you want to promote a small business, this is a great time to do it. Put their chocolates out, put their cookies out, put whatever it is out with a little sign, provided by, sponsored by, and just give them a little shout out. Do what you can, to help the community. And I think that's a great way of doing that. I've done that many times. That candle, sometimes people are a little leery with candles and scents and stuff like that, but look it up. It is proven that diffusers, even if you don't want to have open flame in the house, totally understand, get a diffuser then, something to get that, vacant home smell out of there. And this is for vacant homes. Let's say the home is occupied. I tell my sellers, if the home is occupied, please have the waste baskets cleaned out. Please make sure the home is as clean as possible, as if you were having guests over, because you are technically, right? So I say, think of it as if you were having a dinner party or entertaining. Prep the home in that way. And I think that's a great way to let your sellers kind of get the idea of what the home should look like, how it should be left for open house conditions. When you're doing showings, those are sometimes the drop of the hat, and there's not really that much time. Sometimes now we require 24-hour notice, which is good. But for open house, where you really want, this is your one big bang, right? The first time really anyone gets to walk this home, you really want it to present as beautifully as possible. So then if you do that, they will have that perception become reality, and you're going to most likely see more questions, more interest in the home, people, really saying that they enjoyed your open house. You'll have other agents to, compliment you on the little extra steps you took to make it feel inviting and not just like, hey, the door's open, come on in. All right, thanks, bye, and closing it, or not even noticing. I've seen some open houses where the agents are just sitting or standing in a corner, and it's quite literally an open house. And I'm like, hey, we still have a job to do here. This is the best time for you to get in front of people and really show them what you know about that home. Number 6 would be to invite a mortgage broker. I like to be the one-stop shop for my clients. And I think bringing a mortgage broker, just in case anyone that comes through there that hasn't yet gone through that process, they have someone there, another professional, to ask questions, to help guide them. And it also positions you as, the one-stop shop, the agent that always has help that they need or has the answer to the questions that they're looking for. And that's really great. They can also help sponsor your little setup with the water and the cookies and stuff like that. You guys can go half on that because they're also advertising themselves and their business there during your open house. So collaborate with other vendors in your network and make that happen. Everyone, you'll be surprised. There are people that are very open to that, and everyone's not really aware of that. So go ahead and ask around and get yourself a nice little team for your open houses. And it's fun, to work with other people in your industry, and you don't have to go at it alone. So that brings me to number 7, which is the last one that I've got for you guys, which is a takeaway so that they remember you. Something tangible. It might be a flyer. And there you go. You've gotten 2 things done in one. It could be that flyer they take away. It could be an additional, maybe a little like thank you baggie with your card in it. Thank you for visiting. I would personally make it specific to that house. So my brokerage does give us little tent cards we have free marketing. And I would like to put these tent cards, for example, because they have property information and my face and my name and all the ways to contact me right on that one card. So it's really fabulous if you just put that in. A couple of candies or something really goes a long way. Just something they can put in their purse, those little cheap little sachets that you can stick, I think like they have them for like wedding favors. I think they're called like wedding favor little pouches, but they're see-through, they're organza, typically lots of different colors. You can brand it to your colors and make it really fun, and just throw your business card in there, or maybe get new business cards made for the house. I know that business cards are pretty inexpensive. So when you're having an open house, do like one side of the card, photos of the home, and so that they remember with the home address and maybe the home price. And then the second half, the back side, excuse me, thank you for visiting my open house. And then put the date so that they remember when they saw you, and your name and your number and your face. People are going to remember that, and then they can eat those little candies and Jolly Ranchers, what have you, that you've thrown in there, on the rest of their trip. Usually this is not the only house they're seeing, so that's even more of a reason that you're going to want to stand out. It's not the only house they're seeing that day, not the only open house they're going to. So stand out in that way and give them something to take to remember you by. All right, guys, those are my 7 tips that I've got for you today. I'm going to open it up for some Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, Gabriel, hey, I see that you just put in the chat. How do you deal when the homeowner wants to be present at all the open houses? Oh, Gabriel, that's an interesting question. That's something that you definitely need to, I think, have a conversation with your sellers beforehand. So this should be part of your, in my opinion, your listing presentation. When you go through how you're going to, sell this home and market this home, open houses should be on that list. So when that comes up for discussion, let them know that as a professional, you've gone through many different transactions, and you've seen that it pays when the sellers are not at the property. It makes people feel uncomfortable. Explain everything to them and let them know that you and your team are there, whoever your assistants are that you bring. Oh, you always want to be not doing this alone. Always say, you've got multiple people that are going to come assist you and take care of their home and ensure that their property is taken care of with the utmost respect. This is someone's home and you do need to respect that. We need to understand that. I personally, this is, I think, why I'm so like this with my open houses and why I've got someone at every door, especially closets. I have people in the bedrooms. Bedrooms is personal space. I like to have someone guide people in and out of bedrooms very quickly because I don't want my sellers feeling like people are rummaging through their things or looking through their cabinets, things like that. So let them know that you're there as the professional. You and your team are going to ensure that their home is taken care of as if it was yours. You have to bring that comfort to them and let them know that sellers standing at an open house just makes nothing good has ever come from that. Buyers feel uncomfortable. They wonder why they're there. They tend to talk to people and it makes it awkward. So then again, you might have a developer, right, that wants to come in. I think developers coming in is a good thing because they are the ones that develop that home. And as far as talking to you about every nook and cranny, a developer is going to be the one to have that information for your buyers. So I think having a developer there is sort of like having a mortgage broker there. It's having more information, more help, and giving a better experience to everyone that walks in through that home that might want to buy it. But having a seller there who's currently trying to sell that home, that doesn't make much sense, right? They're leaving, and the first question a buyer is going to ask is, so why are you leaving, right? So that's my opinion. I bring that up during the listing presentation. I work with my sellers and they explain, they understand once I explain why, and it's really never been a problem. So I think once you educate your sellers on that, you shouldn't see any more bad feedback on that, Gabriel. They should be able to give you the professional role that you do have and let you sell that home. Nerth, hi. What's the best way to broadcast the open house? Within how long before the date of the open house? So Nerth, thank you for your question. Lots of different ways you can do this. You can broadcast that open house straight through the MLS, which I highly suggest you do. I mean, the answer is broadcast it everywhere. Broadcast it everywhere and as often as possible, truly, as often as possible. So you're going to want to broadcast this open house through your MLS. You're going to want to broadcast the open house. And that MLS broadcasting, I believe, is a week. You can set it out to a week. Highly suggest you do that. I also suggest you do Instagram and Facebook. If you use TikTok, have that to be your trifecta in your social media. Those three, you definitely want to do that. And I say every 48 hours, because if you're doing like a story, right, that goes away within 24 hours on Instagram. But this is something that I would promote every 48 hours some way, because certain things live there for longer, right? So just make sure, like whenever it dies on Instagram and that story goes away, make sure you put up another one. So Instagram is going to be every 24 hours, but just to not have it be repetitive and inundate people, I like to do every 48 hours, which really does give you the MLS blast, and then twice through three different avenues, right? If you do it every 48 hours for that week, you'll do 2 or 3 times between 3 different avenues. So then I think you're really, you put yourself in a good position there, but that's all online. If you want to do the door knocking, you can definitely do that, a couple of days prior, but people will lose papers. Let's be honest. People lose papers, they'll throw them away. So I suggest that you truly just go the day before. That's what's worked best in my area specifically, but you got to know your market. I don't know where you are, but the day before, and then the morning of. A lot of people will just be like, oh, okay, great, in an hour I'll come back down. I'll be right down there, in an hour I'll be down the block, so they know, and they can work their schedules around it. But Yeah, and if you're in Miami, you're here with me. You know, people are going to lose those papers if you go door knocking, 3 days before. Let's be realistic. So in Miami, yep, you're best off the day before and the morning of. That's how you're going to really get the neighbors in there. Neighbors are great. Neighbors are wonderful because everyone has friends that want to live next to other friends. Everybody has family that wants to live near or closer to their family. So they can even, bring you buyers. So neighbors are great. However, you're going to get a lot of looky-loos. Don't be surprised. Hey, you did invite them. So when they come in and they're like, oh, and you're like, oh, are you buying? And they're like, no, but I'm the neighbor down the street. You did invite them. So just bear in mind that they are potential buyers in the future, or sellers in the future. But you will have some looky-loos from the neighborhood. Gabriel, how many hours would you hold? Gabriel, I like to do 2 to 3 hours. I think 4 is overkill for the agent, really. I think that's too much. And 4 hours, I mean, you can have so many people come in there, or you could have completely wasted your whole day, right? 4 hours is a long time. I like to do 2 hours, 3 hours max. And my favorite time frames are like 12 to 3, 11 to 1. I don't like to go past 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I think after 3, everybody's really kind of headed home or towards the grocery store and then headed home or headed towards an event, or they got to go get ready for going out, something like that. So I like to do 2 to 3 hour open houses, no later than 3 p.m. On the weekends. That's my opinion. All right. How many open houses and what frequency would you use? Gabriel, that's a good question. So Gabriel asked, how many open houses and what frequency would you use for a house that's staying sat in the market? Yeah, you have, depending on how you like to work your business, if that house has been sitting there too long, my opinion would not be to hold more open houses, it would be to pull it off, restage, rephotograph, come up with a different marketing plan if it's already sat too long. But I would do 2 open houses. In my opinion, 2 open houses is safe. With 2 open houses, you've definitely marketed enough and had enough foot traffic, or should have had enough foot traffic in there. 2 open houses back to back, or in back-to-back weekends, I think is a great idea. That's what's worked for me. When a home sits too long, you're talking, I mean, how long are you talking, Gabriel? Are we talking like 45 days? Are we talking 100 days? If a house has been sitting 100 days, I think that house has got to come down. It's going to show on the MLS that, it's been sitting, and you know what that looks like. That doesn't really look so good. Buyers are going to wonder, why is it sitting? Oh, and there's been so many open houses. So people have been in this house and it's still sitting, et cetera, et cetera. Just, brings up a lot of questions. Yeah, 45 days. So 45 days for me, that's a cool point where you could still revamp the marketing and leave it on the market, not have to pull it down and re-put it up. Unetti, yes, I would do both Saturdays and Sundays. I do like to do a 3 hour or 2 hour on both a Saturday and a Sunday. I think it's very important. Some people work on Saturdays. So those who work on Saturdays can come on Sunday, and those who have Sunday obligations, goodness, a lot of weddings, church, things like that happen on Sundays. They come on Saturdays, so vice versa. I think having that option is best as far as getting the most traffic possible in that home. Gabriel, back to your question with 45 days, what I would do is I would do a little bit of revamp, or let's say you held, how many open houses have you held during this time? If you held one already, do something different for your second one. Bring more people on, bring these mortgage brokers in, bring more sponsors in, make it more of a big deal. You want to get as many eyes on it as possible. And that's the goal, getting as many eyes on that as possible at 45 days, because come 60 days, your sellers are going to start wondering what's going on, and you're not to explain whether it's your marketing efforts or whether it's the market itself. So we always want it to be, not something that you didn't do. So make sure that you are holding enough open houses. And make sure that you make a splash. Let's say if you haven't already, do something different with your next open house. Make it more of an event. Put balloons outside. Go to local local restaurants and maybe put flyers in the front. Ask what you can do, but stay very local to that home. Get as many people as you can locally. If you haven't yet worked that neighborhood yet, Gabriel, now would be a good time to do that, to see if you can drive more business to that home at that 45-day mark. Absolutely, you're welcome. You're welcome. Unity, back-to-back weekends is the Saturday and Sunday, or 2 weekends in a row. Girl, you could do what works for you, but you gotta know that house. So yeah, Saturday and Sunday back to back. Saturday and Sunday, you want to sell it, and you want to sell it as soon as possible. Back to back. You should have offers in after your first open, or the week after your first open, and if not, that second open house is the time to kill it. Do something different. Like I said, I don't care if it's fireworks, a weird banner, you know, this new banner that you buy, anything, whatever, to drive attention. You need attention to that home. All right, guys, does anybody else have any other questions? All righty, if not, I want to thank you for tuning in today and being with me. Next week, we're going to be talking about working with renters and leasing, what they need to know, and how to prep them for buying. I'm going to help answer your questions regarding this. I do handle a lot of leasing here in Miami, and I do convert a lot of my one-time renters into buyers for the future. So I want to talk to you about that and how to help them. Very important to know certain things that they don't know as far as renting a home from the MLS. It's very different than walking into a rental community where there's an office in place and they handle all your paperwork there, and it's sort of, handled on site. Rentals and leasing on the MLS, there are requirements, and a lot of our clients and customers do not know these requirements. So I want to talk to you as my fellow agents, and I want to help you help them, right? That's what we do here. Let me help you help them. Join me every Tuesday at 11 a.m. here at thefreedomzoom.com. You can register for our incredible Freedom Coaching at thefreedomcoaching.com, where you can you can register for all of our coaching classes at thefreedomcoaching.com, and then our actual coaching platform, please register there and take advantage of that free trial at thefreedomachieveracademy.com. On the left, bottom left here is all the ways to contact me. I am Rosie Sells Miami, anywhere and everywhere. Rosie Sells Miami at Gmail if you have any questions, and also Instagram, Rosie Sells Miami. Please feel free to DM me there, and please follow. I follow back. On the right, you're going to find all of the replays on YouTube by going and searching David A. Kurz. That would be David Adam Kurz, Freedom Achiever podcast. You're going Freedom Achiever Academy. You're going to find all of the podcasts and all of our weekly sessions, both mine and David's for Thursdays, there on the replay. So catch all of them. Oh, and I've got more questions.
Rosie,
yes, please.
Yes. Rosie, thank you for explaining. I have a question in regards of rental property. Do you suggest, to do open house as well on the rental property? Because I have okay.
I don't. Just for several reasons. That's a good question. It's actually best for next week, and I hope you come on and ask me so that next week also we'll get the benefit of hearing the answer. But no, I don't. For rental properties, I suggest that you allow the agents to take their clients themselves, have that on Supra, have it on Lockbox, because you will, if you go yourself, I will assure you, you're going to show that property a lot, very often. So it's best for, properties that are being leased, that you keep them on Lockbox or Supra, and give specific instructions in the MLS to the, cooperating agent that will be showing the property for their client. Now, if it's a client that you're bringing in and you're also on both sides, right? Let's say you're bringing the renter to a listing that you are leasing. Yes, show that property, make sure you give them the same experience you would as an open house. I mean, for everyone, for every single one of my clients, if you do a showing with me, whether you're leasing with me or you're buying with me, my showings are exactly the same and they all feel like an open house. I get there earlier than my client. I open up all the lights, turn on all the lights for them. I open up all the closet doors for them. I don't want them touching doors. So all of my same rules apply, right? They're all my same weird tendencies. I don't want them opening doors. I unlock everything. I get a lay of the land first so that I can take them around for that tour. Right. So that's what I suggest. I don't suggest you leave it. I also don't suggest you do an open house for it. There will be hundreds of people for that open house if you hold an open house for a rental, truly. So that's a crowd I don't think that anybody wants to manage. So I suggest you leave those to be on Lockbox or Supra. I hope that answered your question.
Okay.
Okay, and Nerth, can I have you send us your business card? Yeah, Nerth, wonderful. I would love to connect with you. Please, you can find me on Instagram at Rosie Sells Miami, ROSIESELLS Miami, MIAMI. It's right there at the bottom left of the screen. You can also email me. It's rosiesellsmiami@gmail.com. And I'd be more than happy to connect with you. All right, guys, it was a pleasure. It's a great one. I hope you guys have found this interesting, informative, educational, all of the above. Remember, if you've got any questions at all, just hit me up. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great one.